Come on along and help me sing this song where the adventure grew. That's me and you, and the whole world too. A busy road leads us to this suburban neighborhood, where the Bay Circuit trailblazers signal us to turn right down this wooded path. We're in Deer Jump Reservation, headed downhill to the mighty Merrimack River in Andover. Hiking along the river over a small wooden bridge, we see what looks like an old chimney of brick here by this tree. This is an area of steep banks, thick woods, and these mountain laurels, a profusion of white. The fragrance of late spring is in the air. The sudden contrast of this floating debris lines the bank. These tiny coves filled with trash, a lot of it. And then this sign. It's time for a side trip to find out about the Clean River Project.
We started 9 years ago. It was like every 15 to 20 feet there was something stuck in the bushes, and it was all bright colors, so you couldn't miss it. So it took us 4 years to do from the Lawrence Dam to the Lowell Dam. 4 years of just hand picking with this thing low. All right, they can probably walk in the other direction.
Rocky Morrison and his merry band of volunteers have been hard at work for nearly a decade, doing whatever it takes to clean this river, from heavy lifting to scouring the banks for the small stuff.
They might have just placed cars here and poured dirt over.
There are cars buried, toxic batteries, a bike, and of course, the ever-constant tires. It's a dirty job and a big job, requiring heavy equipment. And the Clean River Project does it all, making huge strides in the fight against what threatens native species, habitat, and water quality.
Over 300,000, it might even be more, are drinking this Merrimack River. You got to figure from Havel north, any town on this river is drinking it. Andover, Methuen, Lawrence, all the way up. From Havel north is drinking this water. Lowell, Tingsboro, Tewksbury, Manchester, Nashua, this is their drinking water.
This really brings home the fact that it's not just our environment that's at stake here. Humans are directly impacted by how well or how poorly we care for the earth. Rocky Morrison and the Clean River Project need to find funds to keep the work of this nonprofit going. Private citizens and corporations are joining in, and government support is always welcome. Rocky points out that better wastewater systems are needed. And how do we address the fact that this pollution is getting into the river in the first place? In the meantime, this Herculean effort is pushing us in the right direction.
So you're actually seeing that you're making progress. You're making progress.
Oh yes, big progress.
Yeah.
Hell, if you're doing 1,700 tires, you're going back next year, those 1,700 tires are not there. Those 4 vehicles, or 7 vehicles we pulled out, they've been in there for, 5, 10 years, those are out. So it's changing the ecosystem. You'll see better fish, you'll see, better drinking water by getting this stuff out of the water.
As I continue the hike south, I pass these plants that look like bamboo, which I can't identify, and a downed tree covered with these amazing mushrooms. From this magnificent view, almost primitive, to this tiny spider struggling upwards on an invisible thread. And the magic delicacy of these white flowers. A rushing stream, a hill. I can almost imagine myself in the Appalachian wilderness. The peeling bark, the plants, and the trail takes me to a pumping station and a golf course. Here we must walk around, up Merrimack Drive to River Road, over the Thomas P. Sawyer Bridge to St. Mary's Cemetery, which we hike through back to the Merrimack. We are in Tewksbury now.
It's kind of like the perfect storm right now. The Bay Circuit wanting to really get completed going through Tewksbury, the Trails Committee who really wants to put some activities in place officially in the town. So it's a really great thing right now. There's all these people coming together and we're all saying, really, I didn't know you were here, and I didn't know you were here. And so we've had some informal meetings, we've come together and we're all in touch with one another, and hopefully some really good things will happen.
And those very good things are about creating trails, getting people out of their cars, off the tar, and onto natural paths that lead to nature and peace of mind. These trails are popping up everywhere, and there is one common theme to them all.
Starting from a really young age, I was a member of Appalachian Mountain Club and took advantage of what was available in New Hampshire and Maine and New England, never really realizing what else there was close to home, thinking you had to go far away to do some quality hiking. As I've gotten older, though, and time has become a little more of an issue, you do look for things that are closer to home so that you can fulfill that desire to be out in the outdoors.
In the city of Lowell, the Bay Circuit Trail follows the Merrimack River. Its current swift, the water's high.
Much traffic going through here.
In some places, the trail is overgrown. This is a populated area, and even though it seems like private property, and some think it is, I am told that this is a public right-of-way and the Bay Circuit Trail. Tiptoeing through poison ivy and forcing my way through thickets, I know I'm going the right way even though there are no blazes in Lowell. I follow my map and the written descriptions as I pass the confluence of the Concord River and then going around this locked gate. Through the city to the Concord River Greenway. This is where we meet Jane Calvin.
The Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust is all about connecting people with the natural resources of the city. We're fortunate there are 2 rivers that go through the city. And one of our big projects is to establish the Concord River Greenway, which is in the process of becoming part of the Bay Circuit Trail. There are portions that are complete and portions that aren't.
Jane describes the Bay Circuit Trail in Lowell as a work in progress, which she hopes to be completed by the summer of 2014 or 2015. But as I found out, right now it's a bit of a guessing game. The end, however, justifies the means, because the finished product will be so important to this community.
In a city like Lowell, the trail actually provides a wonderful respite for people. It's a great open space resource that people can access from their homes. They don't have to drive very far. We're taking vehicle miles off the road. People have an alternative means of recreation. Those are kind of things that you and I would think about, but beyond that, it actually provides an alternative means for people to get to work. So you'll see that people that don't necessarily have a car, they can actually take these trails and get them off the streets, and they've become important alternative mechanisms to get people to work. They're also important for kids that live in our denser neighborhoods that don't have access to open space or recreational opportunities. They may not have a park nearby, and they can come to an open space like this.
And for the parts of the trail that aren't finished, it can be a challenge. This locked gate is supposed to be access to the southern terminus of the Concord River Greenway. This is a dilemma. How to get around these few hundred feet to the other side. I tried going around on the street. I tried this park. Going up a hill, but that didn't work. So in a last-ditch effort caused by desperation and the need to get to my meeting place with Marilyn at Cross Point Towers, I went through this condo. Thanks to a tip from a neighbor, bushwhacking down this hill to the trail. From here, it's long city streets and my sense of direction that gets me through. At last, finding the industrial park, where this old railroad bed goes under the Lowell connector. Here, the underpass is the outdoor studio of some very fine artists, with remnants of the rusty tools of their trade. I have heard that some in the community would like to meet these artists, amazed by the skill and talent they say is evidenced here. And after a long day of adventure, I see Marilyn in the distance, coming to the rescue of one tired but inspired hiker. They called you swift waters. Your current is wide. You bring vital essence that keeps us alive. Old Man River, why do you cry? Let us help you wipe that tear from your eye.